This video lesson is really pretty simple, and it's just going to be detailing the fundamental building block of all proteins. And as you can see from the title, that building block that we'll be discussing then are known as amino acids. Amino acids are very identifiable because of two functional groups that they have sticking off either side of them. You might remember from our functional group video lessons from a while ago that an amino functional group is really a nitrogen with a few hydrogens, and that the acid part of this isn't so obvious, but the type of acid that we're referring to in an amino acid is known as a carboxylic acid. So you'll have to remember the composition of what's called a carboxyl functional group. But in general, you might remember that that is a covalent bond to a carbon, and then a double bond to an oxygen, and a single bond to a hydroxyl functional group. So if you have a real quick understanding of those two functional groups, aminos and carboxyls, then you're going to have no problem at all understanding the overall structure of an amino acid. So here we go. Let's take a look. All amino acids have the following things. They have a central carbon atom covalently bonded on four sides to four other things. To the left of this carbon, let's go ahead and draw a nitrogen atom, and let's give that nitrogen atom two hydrogen atoms. And to the right of that central carbon, let's go ahead and make another carbon atom double bonded to an oxygen and single bonded to a hydroxyl functional group. So we have just made the two components that I mostly just talked about. If we go in green here and we kind of put a box around this side, we have just created the amino portion of an amino acid. It's sometimes also referred to as the N-terminus, just meaning like terminal, like the end, and the N-terminus because it has the nitrogen. On the other side of that central carbon atom, we have then created the acid part of the amino acid in the form of a carboxylic acid, or a carboxyl functional group. So here is where our acid component of amino acid is coming from, and this is oftentimes called the C terminus, and that's because it terminates, or it ends, in a carbon atom. So you have your N terminus and your C terminus, or the amino functional group and the carboxyl functional group, or the amino part of an amino acid and the carboxyl part of an amino acid. Or I guess the acid part of an amino acid in terms of a carboxylic acid. So a couple more pieces then that we need to add. Sticking off the top of this central carbon, we're just going to have a placeholder. And in chemistry, a placeholder for a covalent bond is just going to be a hydrogen. But coming off the bottom, we have something that's actually quite important. And we're going to use the letter R to represent it. Not because it's like an element that starts with the letter R. You won't find an R on the periodic table. This, and I'll put this portion in blue down here, and we might have to write a little bit about it kind of down underneath. This is what is referred to as the R group, or sometimes you might hear it called the side chain of an amino acid. And what's important about these R groups is this is kind of like a variable in algebra, this R. It really could be anything. In fact, there are, at least in terms of studying biology, 20 different amino acids that we are going to study, or 20 different amino acids that make life possible. And the part that makes them different is the fact that there are 20 different side chains, or 20 different R groups. Okay, so these could be any carbon chains, these could be carbon rings. These are various molecular structures that stick off the bottom of these amino acids, each one unique from the next. 20 of them exist, therefore, because of this unique portion of the amino acid, 20 unique amino acids exist. So if you have over here in green the amino portion of your amino acid, and you have in red the acidic portion of your amino acid, then in blue we have just created our R group, which is what makes and I'm just going to abbreviate here for a second, AA for amino acids, unique. And that is critical because not only is the R group what makes amino acids unique. Oh my goodness, struggling to draw a box, sorry. Not only is the R group what makes amino acids unique from one another, but it's also why when you start to hook several different amino acids together in sequence, they start to twist and to fold and to bend into various conformations that then make proteins unique from one another. And that's something that we're going to be talking about in upcoming video lessons. So what you really need to take away from this lesson right now is that amino acids are the same in I guess 5 different respects, okay? They are the same in the fact that they have this N terminus. They are the same in the fact that they have this C terminus. They have the same central carbon, and they have the same hydrogen coming off of that central carbon. Did I say 5 things? That's 4 reasons why amino acids are identical. All 20 amino acids we'll be studying have those 4 components identical. It's this last component, it's this R group, it's this side chain that makes one amino acid unique from the next, unique from the next, unique from the next, and gives us many, many, many thousands of different varieties of proteins that can do various things for us and for other living organisms as well. So understanding that basic structure of an amino acid is important before you watch the next video lesson, which will be all about hooking these things together in sequence and starting to build proteins with unique properties. Let me know if you have any questions about that. Thanks for watching this video lesson.